U.S. Soldiers Home virtual tour, President Lincoln's summer cottage. We're visiting some of the buildings and the grounds of the U.S. Soldiers Home, retirement home for our distinguished veterans protecting freedom in the Republic, unlike other people. Anyways, we're going to be going down Scott Drive and past buildings that I'll show you as we go down to Winfield Scott statue on our virtual tour. All right, did we continue our way down Scott Drive? And like I said, they have a lot of these auxiliary buildings where the people who ran the U.S. Soldiers Home, the main surgeon, the camp superintendent, etc., etc. That's pretty nice. Right now, they're probably, administrative offices, stuff like that, for the current U.S. Soldiers Home, which is over there. But to respect their privacy, I will not show it. So, a lot of these outbuildings here in the U.S. Soldiers Home, they got little cool barns and outbuildings. Can't go back there. They, privacy and security and stuff like that. Got to stay on the sidewalk, but it's pretty cool. Couple more houses down here. Hold on. Okay, continuing our tour down Scott Drive. We come to another buildings. Like I said, I've looked on maps, and most of these buildings are labeled like, chief surgeon and camp superintendent. And they go back to, 1910-ish or so. Some of them back to the 1840s and 1890s at different times. You got to look at the different maps, and then you'll see the buildings appear, and you can date them and stuff like that. And so we're going to continue our virtual tour past the last big buildings. I think this was like the big chief surgeon down here. There's a cool building here. Hold on. All right, this is pretty cool. Like I said, this is on this map, this is like the chief surgeon house, it says. And some cool things are, it has a post so you can hitch up your horse when you come with your horse. And President Lincoln used to ride around these grounds with horses and stuff, so you'd pull up and tie your horse right up to that. And like I said, this building goes way back. I got workers here, so I don't want to invade the privacy. I'm going to give you a quick, here's the porch. It looks pretty cool. Number 4, you can see where they put flags on it and stuff, and bunting. So it's pretty cool. And on a side note too, if you see that flower pot across the street, I've seen that in photographs when this was still macadam gravel. Macadam, some Scottish guy, we used gravel from like 1900 to the 1930s, and that was in the picture. So that flower pot's been around since the 1890s, maybe 1900s, who knows, goes way back. So like I said, it's a cool house, the veranda, but I got to respect privacy and stuff like that. So I'm going to give you little peeks, but we're going to go down to the Phil Scott statue. All right, I'm going to take a sneak peek here. Hope they don't get mad. But I noticed these old benches here. I wonder if they're vintage. Are they went on the porch? You can see standard blade. So I think they definitely look old. So who knows? Maybe a Civil War veteran, World War veteran, sat on that bench. Maybe the chief surgeon in 1902 sat on that bench. Could be, could be. So we're walking down Scott Drive to Scott's statue. Okay, the last house you'll find on the virtual tour over here on the maps. I think this was definitely the camp runner, the governor, as you would call it. The guy ran the whole place, and so he had the big prominent house right here up on the hill. Let's see if it is. I think it's number 1. I'm not sure. No, number 6. Yeah, 6. The last one, 6 house. And nice big veranda porch. Of course, it would get hot. Some people sit out on the porch and stuff like that. America, freedom. And so we're going to continue down General Winfield Scott Drive down to his statue. Alright, so Scott Drive ends at Scott Circle, of course. And believe it or not, it's called Scott's Statue Circle. General Winfield Scott in the 1840s talked to Congress, got the funding, got the place for Mexican War veterans to rest. And I'm still chasing it down, but not many people know, but in the 1840s and stuff back then, they would use big rocks. You'll find them on maps, you know, marking borders and things like that. So this could have been, you know, a border stone on a map. I'm still chasing it down. Always subscribe to my channel, and you will be the second to find out. I'll be the first, you'll be the second to find out. And but the tour, towards the end, it ends at the U.S. Soldiers Cemetery. But as far as U.S. Soldiers home goes, it ends at Scott Statue Circle. Like I said, you go down a nice a brick path to a real prominent view where they installed the statue, and I believe it was we'll find out. It's got it on the statue here. I can't remember all these dates. I'm not a computer. And but it's nice. We're on a nice cool day in DC. If you got a clear day, you can actually see the National Mall. I've seen it. And anyways, comes out. There he is. What's up, Winfield? Got a couple stat cannons up here. Anyways, here he is. Now his glory, General Winfield Scott. Got a branch in the way, so let me move. Okay, there we go. We got General Winfield Scott. Yep, like I said, General Winfield Scott statue. It stands on a prominent hill. And he is looking down towards the seat of the Republic he helped defend in the 1860s. Of course, you know, it's the middle of summer, just rain, total tree growth, cloud and fog. But you come down here in the fall on a clear day, and I've seen the mall. You can see the U.S. Capitol over here and the Washington Monument here. On a good day, but not a good day. And if I don't fall and kill myself, we'll walk up and check out more of the statue. Like I said, I've looked on pictures and stuff. These cannons have been moved around and stuff. I think 1930s, this is the last time they came in and jumbled them all around. But they've been here for a while. And it's got a plaque for him in honor of Lieutenant General Winfield Scott, born 13 June 1786, died May 29th, 1866, 1 year after the civil insurrection. So he saw the Republic say before he passed. He was in General Chief of the Army from 1841 to 1861. He retired right at the insurrection. He handed it off to a little bit younger folks. He knew, you know, but he was the founder of the United States Soldiers Home here. And so the soldiers saw fit, after he passed in 1866, to get a sculptor who in 1873 sculpted his likeness out of bronze. It says L-A-U-N-T Thompson Sculpt 1873. So that's the name of the sculpture. It's got a big pedestal. He's got a nice, elaborate sword, which is cool. Got his hand in his pocket. Like I said, he was from the Napoleon days, so he stepped aside the insurrection, handed it off. But, you know, he was still, you know, close to the soldiers and stuff. Everything. General Winfield Scott stayed true to the Republic, unlike others. Checking out some side views of the U.S. Soldiers' Home. This was all dairy land and farmland for the soldiers. They grew their own food. They, unfortunately, I'm a vegan, I don't support, but they had their own cows, and they made their own milk and clothing and everything. And eventually got turned into a golf course down to my right, and currently it is a haven for geese. They love this place. No one bothers them. They are totally protected. And it looks like they're looking around for food. So anyway, just thought I'd show you on a side note. We're gonna walk back up Scott Drive. You know, never thought about it, but I'm here at the Winfield Scott statue, and you know, I look at old photographs to see how things change. Usually, of course, the statue remains the same in all the photographs, but the cannons and benches will move around every 10, 20 years and stuff. So I gotta look on photographs, so that's why I take footage of this and try to match it up when this was installed and whatnot. I would say probably 1930s, but who knows? And it looks like fresh rivets here, so it's been at least repaired or something. And so who knows? I'll let you know. Subscribe to my channel. More geese. Geese's goose. Goose is a gander. It's cicada season. Get ready for them crunchy things. I heard they're good protein.